Greetings all! Today, we will be examining the uncommon ground-type Pokemon Trapinch, the Ant Pit Pokémon, its ground dragon type, relatively rare evolution Vibrava, the Vibration Pokémon, and its rare final evolution Flygon, the Mystic Pokémon. While they might technically be part of the family Myrmidonidae, the members of the Trapinch family are among the strangest of insectoid Pokemon and can definitely pull more than a few odd tricks out when needed in a fight. Trapinch possess small, stout bodies sealed in a somewhat thin orange carapace, with dividing lines on their chest region and their backs, down to a small semicircular marking on their back ends, and a white-colored belly region. They stand on 4 small, unjointed legs that are fairly stiff, which limits their overall mobility considerably. Their neck region is very small, and their head is incredibly large compared to the rest of their body, with eyes that have black irises and white, star-shaped pupils. In addition, their mouth is massive and stretches all the way to the midline towards the back of their head, and while they do not have teeth, the edges of their mouths have a jagged, razor-sharp form to them that enable them to slice and crush other life forms with ease. Vibrava have a dramatically different form in comparison, with a yellow-green, substantially more insect-like body form, adorned with a series of line patterns on their thorax and abdomen, and 4 stick-like black legs that end in 2-pronged foot parts that are mainly used for holding onto surfaces and little more. Their heads are slightly spherical in shape, with small, usually unseen mouths containing a pair of large fangs, a pair of long antennae, and large, bright green eyes. Unlike Trapinch, these creatures do actually have wings attached to their backs by white joint structures, being green and diamond-shaped and clad in pairs on each side of their body, and they additionally have a long tail that is adorned with a pair of smaller wing-like structures identical in form to the ones on their backs. The final evolution of this family, Flygon, possess a similar body form to Vibrava, but are much more streamlined, with pale green bodies adorned with darker green stripes on their legs and tail, and a different wing structure, looking more elongated compared to Vibrava, with pale green membranes and red supporting material on the edges, complete with a 3-piece structure of the same design adorning the ends of their tails. Their lower legs have developed into single-digit feet, mainly used for perching, while their upper limbs have developed into thinner, short, 3-fingered grasping appendages that are fully articulate and have claws. Their heads have changed slightly in form, with visible small nostrils and a dark green double crest that extends from the tops of their heads back away from the skull a considerable distance, and their eyes have turned a black color, encased in a red organic resin-like material that acts to protect their eyes against blinding sand and dirt, though at the same time it permanently shades their vision a red color. Trapinch and its evolutions, though appearing to be something completely different, are in fact insectoids, and can only breed with other creatures from the bug-egg group, though they completely lack the bug type's attributes in almost every way, and in turn cannot truly be classified as bug types. It seems that this is the result of 2 factors that help to dictate their entire evolutionary development. For one thing, these creatures, as Trapinch, are so dominantly associated with desert environments and the Earth as a whole, that their exoskeletons have changed composition and structure radically, taking on a form that is more in tune with the attributes of the ground type as a way of accentuating the power of the numerous ground type attacks they learn. This development is so deeply ingrained in their form that Trapinch gain access to no bug type moves naturally, and in fact Vibrava is the only Pokemon in the family that gains any bug type moves naturally. Despite this unusual biological state, Trapinch on their own are not to be trifled with, as while their heavy heads and limited mobility makes them incredibly slow, their physical attack power is incredibly high for a creature of their life cycle stage, making them extremely dangerous to go near. However, these creatures follow the same life cycle as the antlions they share a genetic relationship to, so Trapinch is merely the earliest stage of development for them. But even with that said, these creatures differ substantially from their insectoid brethren for a second reason. Once they evolve once, these creatures technically become dragon types, which is at least partially demonstrated by their immediate acquisition of the Dragon Breath attack. This is incredibly unusual to see in nature, and seems to be due to a genetic mutation that stuck with the family for much of their dated history in the fossil record. But this does not go completely in favor of their combat abilities at first. In evolving from Trapinch, the form of Vibrava changes in order to transition into a true larval state for their fully evolved form. But while this change in form does radically increase their overall speed, additionally adding 1 EV point in speed to the yield of 1 in attack that Trapinch provide, and grants a slight boost to most of their other stats, their base attack stat actually drops 30% as a result of their new, unusual physical form. Moreover, the loss of the powerful jaws of their pre-evolved form and its strong association with the earth changes the moves that these creatures can learn, replacing them with moves they generally don't get a stab bonus from, and thus weakening their overall offensive capabilities in the process. Thankfully, once these creatures reach their adult form, Flygon, they instantly gain access to the Dragon Claw attack and receive a substantial boost to all of their stats, even going so far as to boost their base attack stat up to where it was as Trapinch, while adding on another EV point to speed in their yield and making them an overall more powerful beast in every imaginable way, even if they still don't get back many of the moves that Trapinch can learn naturally. The time it takes to reach this point can make raising these creatures a bit of a pain to some, but it can definitely pay off in the end, even if Flygon are still among the weaker fully evolved Dragon-type Pokémon out there. As far as their abilities go, in the case of Trapinch, their imposing jaws and penchant for digging conical sand traps to trap prey grants them access to the Hyper Cutter and Arena Trap abilities as base abilities, as well as the Sheer Force ability as a hidden ability. However, due to the development of wings and evolution, they lose all of these abilities once they evolve, leaving both Vibrava and Flygon access to the Levitate ability and the Levitate ability alone. In terms of their stats, in looking at Flygon, while they are not exactly weak by any means, their stats don't stand out very strongly in any one area. Only their base special attack and speed stats are above average for a fully evolved ground-type Pokémon, and only their base speed stat is for a fully evolved Dragon-type Pokémon, with everything else being below average. Even so, Flygon can get access to a wide variety of moves via TM and move tutors, so they definitely have versatility on their side and can make the most of it when used with the right strategy in a fight. Trapinch have much in common with their antlion larva brethren, and dominantly live as ambush predators, using their powerful jaws to create traps that very few life forms can escape easily. Living in desert environments exclusively, these creatures will use their massive jaws to dig down into sand and dirt to create a tunnel deep below the surface, crushing any rocks that get in their way easily with their mouths. Once they have made a burrow that they can use to store leftover prey for later consumption, retreat to for defense, or to sleep in when night falls to escape the freezing night temperatures, these beasts will use their mouths to carve out a bowl-like conical pit around them in a circular motion, with the entrance to their burrow at the center of it. These pits are laboriously constructed so the sand and dirt on the sides is at the exact angle of repose. This ensures that any disturbance to them will cause the walls of sand and dirt on the sides of the pit to collapse. Once the pit is complete, these beasts will proceed to bury themselves in the center of the pit and wait for something to accidentally stumble into the hole. While most lifeforms might not easily stumble into the trap if they can see it, this is of little concern to Trapinch, as they are incredibly patient and can go an entire week without food or water before becoming desperate. The moment anything stumbles into their pit trap, however, these beasts will poke their heads out of the center of the trap, open wide, and wait for the prey to get within range of their jaws. The design of the collapsing sides ensures that the more the prey struggles, the harder it becomes for it to escape the pit and its inevitable demise. This can make these creatures incredibly dangerous to come upon by accident, but they are not completely invulnerable when outside of their pit, as their heads are so massive that it is almost impossible for them to right themselves if they get flipped over, leaving them as vulnerable prey to Pokemon like Sandile under these circumstances. Still, given their immense jaw strength, it is wise not to approach them directly regardless, as they can sever limbs just as easily as they can crush boulders into dust with their jaws. Evolution into Vibrava sadly robs Trapinch of most of their powerful moves, losing the ability to naturally learn the Bite, Dig, Crunch, Feint, Superpower, and Fissure moves. In place of powerful jaws, these creatures choose to rely on their wings as their primary weapon in battle. In their larval state, the wings of these creatures are very weak. While they can fly in the air for short periods of time, they are not yet strong enough to enable them to fly for substantial distances, leaving them vulnerable on the ground for much of their life. However, the exoskeletal material that supports the edges of their wings is incredibly abrasive and generates a piercing, ultrasonic noise when the material rubs against itself. As such, Vibrava vibrate their wings against each other rapidly in order to generate loud, screeching noises to attack and incapacitate others, granting them access to the Sonic Boom, Supersonic, Screech, Bug Buzz, and Uproar moves, and eventually even granting them access to the devastating Boom Burst attack if they are kept past their normal point of evolution. As a whole, the ultrasonic waves that they produce with their wings are so powerful that they can generate headaches in people, to the point where trainers will often have to bring ear protection if they really want to use their Vibrava in battle. In the wild, these creatures will use this power to cause other life forms to faint, and once they are unconscious, they will spit acidic digestive juices on their prey to melt them into a slurry that Vibrava can then slurp up, only using their weak limbs to dig a hole and bury the remains of their prey if it needs to be stored for a later time. They will regularly feed in this manner every day that they can in order to help facilitate the rapid growth and development of their wings, as they are very weak in this biological state and need to reach adulthood quickly to have much of a chance at surviving in the harsh deserts they call home. This can make the creatures hard to take care of and control in some cases, but they generally do not have to wait very long before they finally mature into adulthood, so the wait is usually worth it. In finally evolving into Flygon, these creatures finally and truly take on full possession of their dragon-type attributes in both their form and powers, as while evolving from Vibrava denies these creatures the ability to naturally learn the Bug Buzz and Boom Burst attacks, they instead gain access to Dragon Tail and Dragon Rush as a consequence of the full development of their tail and overall body form, respectively, as well as access to the Dragon Dance technique. With their wings fully developed, these creatures are able to fly for long distances and are among the most skilled of flyers. But in their native habitats, this poses a serious problem for other life forms, as the large, flat surface of their wings creates a lot of downward force as they flap, which has a habit of whipping up so much sand and dirt as they fly that it creates whirling sandstorms that surround them when they are in motion. While this might seem like a problem to these creatures, it is actually their primary way of both staying protected from attack and ambushing prey alike, as the resin-like organic coating that covers their eyes enables them to avoid being blinded by the whirling sand and dirt, while at the same time helps them to see more clearly through it, granting them a tactical advantage over those that are not so well protected. Moreover, the rough surface of the exoskeletal material bounding their wings creates a noticeable ringing sound when sand and dirt rubs up against it, creating a haunting melody that is so beautiful in its form and quality that Flygon are often labeled as the elemental spirit of the desert, or, more simply, the desert spirit. However, those that are attracted to the haunting melody are in trouble, as both Pokemon and people alike have been known to follow the sound into the harsh deserts Flygon call home, only to get hopelessly lost or otherwise end up as prey. In some cases, these creatures may even tag team with wild crocodile to make hunting easier, with Flygon providing the sandstorm cover needed to hide the reptilian brutes, while they in turn serve as the muscle for killing their prey, the two equally sharing the kill afterwards. This can make these creatures surprisingly dangerous to have to encounter, and while their haunting music may steal the hearts of some, you would be better off ignoring the sound to escape a potentially horrid fate if your curiosity gets the best of you. Though, this is something that can be equally taken advantage of in battle to blind and ambush opponents without them knowing what to expect. Though they certainly may be among the most abnormal of insectoid Pokemon out there, the members of the Trapinch family are nonetheless unique creatures that can more than show surprising brute strength even at a young age. It might take a lot of work to raise them to a fully evolved state, especially in dealing with their intermediate larval state, but those that are willing to stick by them will likely not be disappointed by the final results of their effort. If you're looking to find one of these critters for your collection though, make sure that you keep your eyes focused on all of your surroundings. One false step or lack of attention while wandering around, and these beasts will gladly attack you at full force with their jaws and sandstorm generating powers, more than likely leaving you more than a bit worse for the wear, if you can even manage to escape their clutches to begin with. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always an honor to be able to speak with you all on the subject of Pokemon in a way that brings me great joy and happiness in my work. If you would like to keep tabs on past and future work, click that subscribe button, check out my work on DeviantArt, and don't be shy about following me on Twitter, where you can find pertinent announcements on upcoming work before it is officially posted. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you would like to support my work and help Miguel and I continue to produce more content for you and improve upon our presentation, please visit us at my Patreon page, which you can also find a link to in the video description. With that, I thank you for watching and I wish you well.